Hi, I'm Michelle Pacheco, and today I am with Dan Brulé, who is a very old friend, teacher, and master of the breathing techniques that I met quite a while ago in 2011, and with whom I have the pleasure to be here today. Just in a few words, for those of you that don't know Dan Brulé, he's a modern day teacher, healer, and world renowned pioneer in the field of breathwork. He is one of the creators of breath therapy and was among the original group of internationally certified rebirthers. He is a master of prana yoga, the Hindu science of breath, and Qigong, Chinese medical breathing exercises, and he leads the worldwide spiritual breathing movement. Since 1970, Dan Brulé has personally trained over 250,000 people in 67 countries to use breath and breathing for self-improvement, self-healing, and spiritual awakening. He has trained Olympic elites, elite warriors, and martial artists. He coached leading medical experts, corporate executives, and big performers, including Tony Robbins. He is the author of several books, including Just Breathe, Master Breathwork for Success and Life, Love, Business, and Beyond. So just also to let you know that his book, Just Breathe, it's also translated in Romanian and many other countries, many other languages, but we also have it in Romanian for the Romanian audience that might be watching us here. So then, welcome. I'm so happy that finally, after some time now, we are getting here together and have this beautiful opportunity to share some experiences that we had in the past 12 years together. Although I didn't see you in a few years now because of 2020. It stopped kind of us in the trenches, so we couldn't experience much. But I welcome you today, and I want to give you the floor to tell us where you are now, in a few words, a beautiful place where you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, 2011 we met. And boy, it seems like I've just known and loved you forever.
Me
Like I've known
too.
you forever.
Me
That's one of the beautiful things about breath work. I mean, it really creates deeper connections in us that kind of transcend time and space. It's when we're breathing, we're opening heart intelligence, we're opening intuition, we're expanding our consciousness. And so, of course, our life gets fuller and richer. And even small little moments can seem so hugely beautiful, and short time spans can seem like eternity. And so, good to be with you. And I'm sitting here in Los Cabos. It's my we have a retreat center here, Baja Biosana, which is actually about a 10-minute walk. And this house that I'm in here, we call it the Nest. It's our little getaway place for when we have groups and it's busy over at Biosana at the training center. We can disappear and slip away over here. So yeah, I'm in Los Cabos. The weather is perfect here. It's summertime, 365 days a year here. So we get spoiled. And I love it. It's where the desert meets the sea. So it's a very unique kind of climate here. I love it. And just feeling good about being alive. I'm just celebrating. I made a trip to the dump the other day with my truck. And on the way back, I stopped in the Arroyo on the riverbed, and there were these Mexican families who came and spent the day, and you could see that they had gone shopping on Saturday and prepared everything. And they had 5 or 6 kids playing in the pools and in the river. And you could see they were just having such a beautiful outing for the day. And I'm thinking, oh my God, these people drove an hour and a half to spend one day here. And every day I wake up in this place. What a boy, am I blessed.
That's a blessing, yes.
Yeah.
It looks so nice. Obviously, we are inspired by beautiful weather, sunny day always gives us more energy. The sun is giving us energy. As you were mentioning in the beginning, I feel like I know you since forever. I remember when I met you in New York, a friend of mine invited me to come to an opening night or presentation. He said, "Do you want to know to learn something about conscious breathing?" I said, "I don't. I did you hear of this?" I said, "Not really." But says it's a very well-known person here in New York, Dan Brulé. Did you hear of him? I said, "Yeah, I think I know his name. Maybe I knew your name, but from other life because I never met you yet." But I kind of felt this connection. So I came to that night. I will never forget. It was a presentation that you made in New York, and I was so hooked for those 2 hours that you talked to us and gave us examples and explained what it's all about. And the next morning, I was one of the first at the door before the workshop started. And it was one of the best experiences I had in my life. Why was I hooked? And then I would ask you some questions so we can hook other people so they see the benefits. Because I was already working with Reiki for some years, I was doing my meditations workshops. And I noticed that for people, it's hard sometimes to focus, to connect, to detach from the day to day thoughts, to connect to their own body, to their own energy, to their emotions, and to feel free. So when I had that experience the next day, when we actually started the first workshop, I'll never forget. I said, "You convinced me," and I said, "I'm going all the way in." And I allow myself to go into the session 100% of what I was able at that moment, and it was quite a lot. And when I finished, I was wow. And I said, I need to do this, I need to learn this, I need to practice this, and I need to introduce this to all the people that I'm working with because they have such a difficult time connecting 100% or at least 90%, but the goal is 100% in their own practice, in their own development of their practice or whatever they want to do in their life. So this is how we started to collaborate and to work together, and our friendship started. And then I remember that the same year, later in the winter, I met you. I think it was the spring. You were somewhere in Russia, I think, in Moscow, and when you finished there, you came to Romania. I came to Romania from here, and we came here, and just I will never forget. I was worried. I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to get so many people to do this workshop." And then with a few friends that are also spiritually connected here in Romania, we thought, oh, we'll have a couple of people. And the day of the workshop, I remember that we went to the hotel where we had the space, and we had double the amount of people that we expected. And I said, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So we managed for the day, but for the next few days, we had to look for a bigger space. So that was the beginning, working with you in Romania. And also, we worked in New York, and I joined you for workshops when I was in New York, and you're in New York. So, what I would like to ask you now, because I had these memories of the past, tell people, especially, I know that we couldn't connect so easily over the past few years because of the pandemic and what happened in the world and traveling and so on. But now that we can do this, and more than ever, I believe and I feel that people need this more than ever before. What would you like to say to the people about your experience? How did you come to do this work? It's more than 50 years now that you told me, and so many places that you travel. How did you become to do what you do? What ticked for you at one moment in your life that determined you to take this path and to do this? Because you bring, just to say it, you bring so much benefits to people in the world, and I would like to so we can share this with everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, about your experience, you just came ready, and this is that readiness is what really makes the difference. And you dove right into the deep end of the pool, not knowing where you were going to end up or what was going to happen, and that willingness to really to take a leap, that's what causes the breakthroughs. And so the willingness to feel and the willingness to welcome intensity, whether it's intense pain or intense joy or intense fear, to just move through that stuff. And so breathing gives us a way to deal with our deepest fears, to connect to our greatest strengths. And it's a formula. And I didn't choose to come into this work. I mean, I make a conscious choice every day about it, but it seems I was just born with a purpose, with a mission, to be a missionary for the breath, to turn people on to God in the breath. I found God in the breath, and I wish everybody could find God in the breath. And I somehow accidentally learned how to breathe energy and not just air. I stumbled upon my spirit when I was practicing breathing, and um, and so what got me into it originally was this spark in Catholic school in the first grade or kindergarten in Catholic school, and the Catholic priest coming and talking about the book of Genesis and how God took dust of the earth and formed the body of man and breathed into the nostrils of man the breath of life. That was the most, as a 5-year-old kid, just the imagining of that, and it was like the most exciting thing I'd ever heard. It's like, well, God is breathing into us. Why isn't everybody excited? This freaking amazing. And so some spark was lit in the connection, the ecstatic nature of the breath as a source of our energy, and as the connection to our spirit. And so I just kept having experiences that is like life kept sticking my nose in the breath. Every time I turned around, I got the wind knocked out of me. I was having breath holding competitions in the schoolyard. It was like I just couldn't escape the breath. It was unarguable, inescapable passion for the mystery of the breath and the potential for breathing. And my first job was an X-ray technician. I was literally X-raying people's lungs and taking chest X-rays and telling them, taking a deep breath, hold it, and then click, I take their picture. And I started watching how they took a deep breath, what they thought was a deep breath. And I don't know, it was like the breath was beginning to speak to me. And I could feel what was happening inside of people because of my connection to their breathing. And then I went into the military and I was a medical person. Then I became a deep sea diver. So I was practicing breath holding. I was doing underwater rescue. I was doing scuba diving. I was doing free diving. I had the classic big suit with the big helmet and the windows and the hose and 300 feet below the surface in the dark. Um, and so I learned that when you work in high stakes or life and death situations, you have to train yourself to breathe. But the average person has high stakes experiences every day in their family, with their children, with their job. So everybody needs to develop these skills and the knowledge around breath, because if you work in a life and death situation or high stakes, you're trained to breathe. But the average person isn't trained to breathe. And so the thing that sparks me and made me jump all in on breathing, and what continues to keep me inspired, is this realization, this experience, this knowledge that all of the high states and the extraordinary abilities that we read about, that the Buddha and Jesus and Krishna and Shiva and all the great masters and the great warriors and the saints and the mystics, that they achieve these high states and develop these extraordinary abilities. But those same high states and those same abilities are accessible to everybody. We all have that same potential. We just need to find our way to unlock that potential, access it, and then begin to apply it and use it. And so and the breath does that. The breath literally does that. It takes us to these higher states and these amazing abilities that we think, just those amazing people can do that, but little me, I can't do it. No, 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 no. They're little people too, just like you. And we all have the same potential, but Some people access more of it than others. And if you are interested in accessing your full potential and becoming who you really meant to be, then breathing is going to take you there. It's going to support you there. And so every day I see miracles with breathing. And so I don't have to decide to do it. I'm just doing it because it's my passion. And and I can't not do it. You know, to me, it's the highest way that I can serve people. It allows me to really be who I am when I'm teaching breath, when I'm sharing the breath, when I'm helping people, develop the skills around breathing. I'm living my dream. I'm fulfilling my purpose. So, um, if being a breath worker isn't your purpose, breath work will definitely help you find your purpose, and it'll help you serve that purpose on a much higher level. So that's why I'm all in for breathing. That's why I'm a missionary for the breath. That's why I'll take breathing so far to 67 countries, and I've had my hands literally on probably 250,000 people in 53 years. So I don't have the luxury of doubt. I have utter certainty about the power
Yeah.
and the potential. So it's just up to me to help people really get in the game and develop their skills, and to learn this stuff so they can be the most that they can be and help the people around them.
That's wonderful. Dan, so it came to a point that you discover you're interested about all these things that were leading you to the path, to the point of discovering that you're connected to the breath. So at some moment in your life, the opportunity came to meet the right people to train with. So when you had that first opportunity, did you feel like it was what you were waiting for your entire life? How did you feel in that moment?
Yeah, when I was a small child in Catholic school, the nuns, the sisters told us that we all have a guardian angel, like a specific angel just assigned to you to be your helper, your guide everywhere all day. And as a little child, like, well, that's amazing. I have my own angel. And so when I would sit in class, I'd leave a little space on the side of my chair so my angel could sit there with me. When I went to the cafeteria, I'd leave a little place on the side of my bench so my guardian angel would have a place to sit. And that's how real it was to me. And then I don't know how long it lasted, but it kind of faded, you mature or whatever. But then when I went to India in 1980, and I went to India because at the time, if you wanted to get certified as a rebirther, and rebirthing breath work is what I teach, one of the core practices that I teach and I've shared. Then, if you wanted to get certified, you had to go to India and you had to meet Babaji, because Leonard Orr felt that Babaji was the source of the spiritual breathing movements on the planet. And if you wanted to get certified, you needed to go and sit in his presence and meet him. So I went to India, and and after the long journey of planes and trains and cars and hiking, and we get out to the Himalayas in this beautiful ashram, and I'm really tired. The last journey was about 100 steps up to the ashram, and I saw this beautiful place to sit. So I went down and sat under this tree on this beautiful bench. And Babaji came running out from around his room, and he came and he sat right on the side of me, and he went like a little child. And it just immediately put me back into kindergarten when I was having that learning about the spirit of breath being God and my guardian angel. It just all suddenly made sense. It all came to light. And here I was sitting with my guardian angel in the flesh. I mean, who has an opportunity to do that? And so I realized, okay, this is it. This is breathing took me here. So I don't have any doubt about where breathing can take us and why it's important. So, and then just miracle after miracle just started happening. People at the seminars coming to breathe, that readiness that I talked about. You know, once somebody is ready, you can't stop it. I mean, I remember your first session. You literally looked energetically pregnant to me. I mean, not pregnant with a child, but you had a mission, you had things that you needed to teach and share, and you were literally, it was like wanting to explode out of you. And I think so much came up for you at one time. I mean, you were really, it was intense. And to open to that much energy. Um, and so the game for us is to teach our body mind system to handle that energy, to do our inner work so that we're safe with that energy, and to allow that energy to do its work of healing and liberating and growing in us. And so that's what I do. I try to use the breath to bring people together with their inner healer, their inner guide, their inner spirit. Um, and it and it works because it's not me, it's not you. The Holy Spirit is the breath, right?
Yeah.
We're in intimate contact with the Holy Spirit. It's filling us and surrounding us. But when we begin to consciously breathe, we start to awaken to that reality. And that's liberation. That's the kingdom of heaven. It's the solution to all problems. And it sounds like a simplification, but if you can put yourself into a beautiful state, then all the answers come, all the problems are solved. And breathing allows us to put ourselves into a beautiful state. You
That
might
is
have to go through some uncomfort on the way. You got to clear crap out of your system. All your shadow stuff comes up. So there's a journey, but the end of the journey is so sweet. And a taste of the end of the journey is always with us to some degree. I mean, we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything. We are already, always already free. And waking up to that, wow, I don't know any better work.
That is amazing. You know, just going through listening to you, actually, I remember, yes, my very first session, there were so many things happening there. It was a point that I was like, what is going on? But you're right. I was ready because I already had the practice, and maybe because I like to venture and to do things. And I said, I want to get to the bottom of this to understand what is happening. But you pointed something else, the spirit. People sometimes are too serious. The spirit is a child, the spirit is childish. We are taking life too seriously. We are like so serious. We build up, as you mentioned, this personality. We live under the mask. And we forget that the spirit is a child. In my meditation, in my practice, many times I establish a connection and I receive answers, and they are like giggling. I mean, they are jokingly, like you said, the Babaji was like, hey, it's the same. I mean, you would receive an answer or a state or something that is something funny, something beautiful. It's not nothing serious. And I remember we were talking about this before and say, we came here to be happy. We came here to play. We came here to experience. And the life, everyday life of this reality that we experience at this moment is taking us to the point of being much too serious.
Yeah.
And what I would like you to talk a little bit about what stops us from having a full experience and playing with the breath. Because
Yeah.
what I see with people that I work for the past 10, 11 years myself, that they experience something in their body, in their emotions when they start breathing, and immediately the mind, immediately the limited thinking of the patterns that we have is blocking them. What if something happens to me? And
Yeah.
I would like you to talk a little bit about this, to why it's so important to experience the breath work, different experiences, different techniques, different things that we do, and to allow yourself to immerse, as you said, a full immersion into this and just allowing it to happen. Why is it so important? And what stops us?
Again, you were a really good example of that, because I remember at that point in your life, you had just made this choice to leave the corporate world. You could have a very comfortable, secure lifestyle, but it wasn't feeding your soul. And what a scary thing to like leave that job and leave that security and follow what you really love to do. That's a big part of how, that risk we have to take, because some sometimes, if not all the time, healing and growing means doing things that are uncomfortable, or doing things that are scary, and feeling things that are uncomfortable. It's like that's a necessary part of our growth. And so if we avoid scary situations, or we avoid uncomfortable feelings, we can never get through them to the other side, to the freedom. So again, you were like a really good example of that. Now, remind me of your question quickly.
No, I just want to say why we are so serious about things and why do we
I,
get scared? Because you mentioned
okay.
something now. I'm a little bit of maybe more adventurous person. I don't know. There's the way I am. I mean, I had the courage. I picked up. I left Romania. I moved to the United States. I built a family. I had a family eventually. I had a daughter and so on. But I was alone, and I didn't have any security of a family. I just venture myself, and it was scary as starting living the corporate world, as scary as starting to do breath work and allowing the energy to immerse myself into energy and allow to experience this change. So I wanted you to talk a little bit to people why. Um, what is the mental part doing to us, the personality that we build, this mental programs that we have, and stopping us to experience what is beyond, because when we breathe we connect beyond the immediate reality that we experience when we go on the street, and we
Yeah.
experience something else. And I'd like to talk to them a little bit about what is that doing to them when they start experiencing what you cannot see with the eye and what you cannot feel when you touch with a finger.
Yeah. So, our brain was designed to keep us safe. It wasn't designed to make us happy. It wasn't designed to help us achieve enlightenment. It was designed to keep us safe. It looks for threats. It tries to keep us from entering danger. It keeps us, try to keep us safe and secure in our womb and so on. And so we have habits. We have habits of thinking. We have emotional habits. We have feeling habits. We have behavioral habits. And some of those habits are based on pure programming, conditioning. We inherited them from our parents, from our culture, from our religious teachers. And so we're not living our true life. We're living these principles that other people said we need to live. We absorb the fears of our parents, and they became our fears. And so getting free of all that, it it requires some kind of a force to overcome and to break free of that. And a lot of it is about beliefs. More and more, I sense that what a belief is, it's a crust around our intuition. And so if we can drop beliefs, oh, I don't think I can make it. Oh, without a job, I'll never be secure. Oh, I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I don't know if I will. If we can get rid of those beliefs, our intuition is unlocked. And so, about up leveling beliefs and changing beliefs about what's possible, about who you are, about why you're here, what's real, what's true, what's the purpose of life, the big questions in life. Where did I come from? What's going to happen when I die? Why am I here? Who am I? Those are spiritual questions that are going to
Yeah.
gnaw at you forever, until and unless you finally step into the journey of discovery and self-discovery. And that journey into self-discovery, it's really a journey back to our source. And so it's a win-win situation. So we people resist, and they're afraid just because of their programming, their conditioning, the habits of their system. And that's the power of breath work. We get to change those habits, interrupt those patterns. We get to install new beliefs, and we get closer and closer to who we really are. And we get better and better at expressing and reflecting who we really are and how we want to be. So it's a spiritual path. And any spiritual seeker, what a beautiful thing to discover that you don't have to look anywhere. You don't have to go to India. You don't have to find the right teacher. You don't have to memorize the Kabbalah. All you have to do is turn to your breath, and gradually the spirit of the breath is going to awaken you to what you need to know and what you need to do and who you ultimately are. So it requires a decision to change our direction, to change our focus, to break out of our habits and our patterns and our programming and our conditioning. And as soon as you decide to do that, the breath comes in and helps you, and the universe starts to support you. And so then you get momentum, and you start taking bigger risks, and you go deeper, and you get higher. And it doesn't seem to be any end to that journey. No matter how good we can get better. No matter how much we learn, we can learn more. And so we're on this beautiful path of infinite spiraling awakening and expansion. And as it turns out, that's the kind of breathing we practice. We practice spiral breathing, circular breathing. We're incorporating universal principles, yin and yang, active and passive, cycles and circles. And so we're incorporating those universal principles into our breathing practice. So we come into harmony with nature and the universe, and we have the support of existence itself. You're like plugged back into your source. You plugged into a battery that has all the energy you need. You plugged into the Akashic records, the collective consciousness, the higher intelligence, and now you're a student. You're a devotee of life itself.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. And I just wanted to say that I was listening to you, and I realized that everything is so simple. It's right here, as you said. It's here, and it's simple. And there are many practices and some new wage practices, and that they keep coming, and people thinking that it has to be complicated, that I had to do algorithm and all sorts of things that in order to reach awakening and illumination.
Yep.
And I realized myself working with you and doing the breathing that, it can happen. You breathe, and then at some moment something happens. It's like a Buddha moment, as you call them. It's like, wow, you have a moment of illumination, and you understand something that you try to understand your whole life. In a second, everything comes, and it's like opening this channel of information. You allow it to flow. I have to say that thanks to you, of course, also to my work and practice, but because I discovered this practice through you, I had the opportunity to align myself and to be more creative and to understand my work much better as if I didn't do this practice. I mean, even now, people ask me, and I know people ask you, and we were in workshops together, how long do I have to do this? And I remember you saying, for the rest of your life, forever. And say, oh, because people are saying, oh, I have to practice 10 times, 20 times, and this is it. And I said, no. And people ask me, and I said, well, since I met Dan, I'm breathing constantly. I'm practicing all the time. Before I do meditation for myself, and I do this meditation that I go deep down in my heart, and we create and we meditate, just be there, whatever I do. And I never do that without starting to breathe in the beginning. So I go into a breathing pattern, breathing technique. I play with it in different ways. It puts me in a certain state where I'm totally the world, the reality as we know it. It's gone, and I'm focused just on my breath and just opening this channel to whatever, to my angel, to my guide, to my higher self, whoever I am with. And then in that moment, there is no interference. And I think that is the moment. And I have to share something with you. I didn't see you since this happened to me. I did a deep breath, and I was in such an amazing state. And I didn't even get to the point to do my meditation because all of a sudden I started to receive answers to the questions that I had, and I never had an answer. And it was so amazing. And I was in like communication with my angel, with my higher self, whoever, my guide, however you want to call it. And I said, wow, this is so nice, because it was like a download constantly. And I said, wow, what is this? And says, it's pure consciousness. So I said, and that's why I'm saying they have humor and they're playing. And I said, so how is that? And they said, it's like Google. I said, everything is out there. You just need to ask. And I said, but what is the tool? How do I get? And they were saying, tell them, people. But what do I tell them? How do I access? And they said, what's the tool? And I said, one word, the state. Go into the state, go into that type of state. And this is why I'm doing this with you today. And we're trying to bring this back into in front of as many people as possible, because I do understand that in order for us to grow, to become better for ourselves and better with other people, and be able to share and be givers, to give to the world, to share with the world, we need to be able to become better with ourselves, first of all, and to allow the energy to flow, and to allow ourselves to be in that type of state, and to go out of fear, go into love, go into gratitude, be in that type of state where I'm centered, I'm balanced, I'm within myself, within my heart, whatever. So I wanted to find out from you, how difficult do you think is for a person that says, I cannot do this, or they have questions and saying, well, it's difficult. Well, I don't have the time to do this practice. Well, it can happen to you, but I cannot do it. What do you think it would be the ultimate motivator to put like a needle, like a little fire under them, and say, these are the things that you would be able to get, but you need to stick to this practice.
Yeah.
What, because you have such a great experience for so long, like a motivator, like what would you tell people to do in their
Yeah,
personal practice?
it's we got to trust the simplicity of it, right? And so um right now, just to show how quick and how simple and how easy it is, I just invite anybody who's listening right now to just, when you breathe in, have the intention of opening and expanding, just opening and expanding your mind, opening, expanding your body, opening and expand your heart, your consciousness, the bubble of your aura around you. Just turn to your breath, take in a long, deep breath, and have this intention, and give yourself the experience of expanding, opening and expanding. And you don't even have to imagine it, because when you breathe in, your chest is opening, you are expanding. And so the breath triggers that experience of opening and expanding. And what are you opening to? Wisdom, inspiration, spirit, life, healing energy. Fill in the blank yourself, but just begin to use the breath to literally open and expand. That's the mantra that's connected to the inhale: open and expand. Side to side, front to back, top to bottom. It's a physical exercise, but it's an energetic uh, practice. You're opening and expanding. So you're doing the work. You're an active seeker. You're practicing Kriya Yoga. You're doing something to move you towards your liberation, towards your enlightenment. A simple inhale that's done consciously right now. And then the exhale, you relax and let go. That's the mantra for the exhale. And when you relax and let go, grace descends. As you relax and let go, you are filled with something. So on the inhale, we open and we pull in energy, and we open and expand. But then when you relax and let go on the exhale, your borders, you break out through your borders and you radiate out past your borders, and you also drop into your center at the same time. So take a few breaths like that with this intention. Open and expand, and make the inhale long enough and slow enough so you can actually feel the opening, the expansion, the filling of yourself with energy. And then on the exhale, just let go, just surrender, just relax, don't do anything. And the breath pours out of you. And as the breath is pouring out of you, spirit is pouring into you. So have that visualization, have that intention, and then just start taking one breath after the next with passion, with enthusiasm, in a very Zen-like way, each time as if it's the first time. Even though you're breathing again and again and again, you don't want to be robotic. You want each breath to be very conscious, very intentional, and anybody can begin to move towards where they need to move. The breath will do the work for us if we engage in the breathing. Very, very simple. And so I like to start a lot of my seminars by trying to move a couple of limiting beliefs out of the way right away. And one of them is, look, if I want to accomplish something really magnificent, find the cure for cancer, become enlightened, whatever it is, we automatically, deep in our brain, in our mind, we have the thought that it's going to be difficult, it's going to be complicated, and it's going to take a long time. I mean, whoever accomplished anything great without it being really difficult and really complicated and spending a lot of time? So I like to have people remove that thought right away and just turn it around and think to themselves, okay, something I believe would be really difficult and really complicated and take a long time, you know what? It can happen very quickly, very easily, and effortlessly. So you turn that into an affirmation. Something I believe would be really complicated and difficult and take a long time is really very simple, very easy, and it can happen in a flash. Now, if you think that kind of a thought and then you breathe, you're going to accelerate your evolution. And the second affirmation good one to start with is, it doesn't matter how I have been my whole life up to this moment. From this moment on, I can be any who, I can be anyhow, I can be any way. It doesn't matter what was true about me yesterday. Today, anything is possible. I can be anything, right? It doesn't matter what was true about me my whole life up to this moment. From this moment on, I can be in a completely different life. That's how powerful this is. And it happens to be a fact and reality. It doesn't matter who I've been and how I've been in the past. Right now, I can choose how I want to be. And from this moment on, I can be anywho, anyhow, and be open to that possibility. So those two thoughts, if you start breathing and get those thoughts in place and let those thoughts percolate deep inside of you, every breath is going to open you to more and more peace, more and more power, more and more information, more and more insights about what to do next, who you need to study with, where you need to go, what you need to practice, what you need to eat. That stuff is going to come to you intuitively. You're going to end up in the right place at the right time without trying, without planning, because you're connecting to the very flow of life. You're taking part in your own nature and your own evolution. So simple, that's a sigh of relief. What I just described, open and expand, relax and let go, that's a sigh of relief. You just do it very consciously, very deliberately, very intentionally. Put your whole heart, mind, and body and soul into it, because that's the real secret, maybe, is totality. We're sort of interested in something, but we're also interested in that. We sort of want to do something, but we really don't. You're not fully committed. And without that totality, no one has ever achieved anything remarkable. You have to be total. Your whole body, your whole heart, your whole mind focused on each breath. And it's not going to take you very long with that kind of totality. you can awaken instantly.
Yes, there are, as you were speaking, I was just remember something. Me being a Reiki practitioner first, as this is where I came from originally, I believed, I understood it worked. I did treatments on myself, on my family in the beginning, and I knew it's working, but I never felt the energy. I felt it in my hands and I could sense it. But in the moment that I started to do the breath work with you, I started really to connect to energy, to kind of feel, to touch it, to sense it. And I have quite a few friends that are doing Reiki, and they came to do the breath work with us here in Romania or with me, wherever I was, and they said, "Wow, I never imagined. It's like I can touch the energy. I really feel it now." So it's totally different. And
The spirit of the
yeah,
spirit of breath gives us a biological experience of God.
yeah,
It gives us a cellular experience of divine energy, and you can never forget it, and you can never go away.
yeah.
Once you've been bitten by the spirit of breath, there's no escaping it. There's only going further and higher. And so that's look forward to that. That's waiting for everybody.
Yeah, there are though, because just to people to know, there are certain experiences that you have when you start breathing. You may have tickles, you may have numbness, you may feel dizzy, but this is, as we explain to people coming into these workshops, it's natural. I'll tell you something that I think I never told you this. In the beginning, when we started to work, and we were here in Romania, and I would be translating for you, and I was walking after you in the room to make sure I hear what you say. We didn't have a microphone. And I was also breathing in your pauses. I was breathing myself, and I would get dizzy. I was standing up. I was still in the beginning, my first, second year. I would sit down because I was getting a little dizzy. As I worked and I continued to do this, I realized even now I can do myself a work with a couple of people, and I can spend 2 hours breathing with them, and that goes away because, as you said, my body, my state is accustomed now to handle energy differently. And of course, we continue to grow. Like we say, it's never ending. And this is like a technique, a path, however you want to call it, that stays with you forever. And as you
Yeah.
said, it's like a bug. Once that you do it, you can never give away. You cannot walk away from it. Um, can you tell? Because you said once, and I thought it's great. We can set intentions, and why I love this as a conscious breathing, as working with it in every moment of our lives. We can be anywhere, anytime, whenever we feel something that's discomforting to us. We can bring the breath and helps us to bring ourselves back into to kind of stabilize us. Also, we can set intention, and we can bring in our intention and manifest what we need in our
Yep.
life. And it's the spirit that is doing that. It's not the mind.
Yep. Yeah, the mind gets its creative power from the breath. And so we as breath workers, we use our breath. We turn to our breath in moments when the average person would not. Or we focus on our breath in the middle of situations where the average person would not. And that it gives us more choices. It expands our reality. And so don't the next time you look at a sunset, don't just look at it, literally breathe it in. Practice inhaling your experience of the sunset. If you're listening to music, don't just listen, try to breathe the music in. Use your breath to take in the energy, right? If someone is speaking, don't just listen to their words, quietly inhale while they're speaking with this intention of pulling in the energy behind the person's words. So we can do this. This is how we can connect to anything. Next time you look up, this is the new moon today, but next time you look up at the full moon, literally try to suck the moon energy into you with the breath. And literally use your breath to reach out and touch the moon. This sounds like child games, but they are,
Yes.
because there's an innocence and a playfulness that's the genuine spirituality. Seriousness is a disease, and so we need to be playing with our breath. We need to be like children with an imagination and exploring. And that's how we unlock the potential.
Yeah,
But
because
use
everything is intention, as you say. It's intention, and as you said, we are so serious, and we put in the boxes. We put like, this is a box for this is a box for my ascension, this is a box for that. But we don't realize. I noticed this working with myself, with other people, that there are no boxes. Everything is. And it's up to us to let it go up and down wherever we want to be, or to keep it in a box. So let the boxes go. Just allow yourself to be. This is my personal
exactly.
realization. Yeah.
Yeah, we when we're stuck going back and forth and back and forth, or up and down and up and down, if you engage in circular breathing, you turn that up and down, back and forth to round and round. And it just suddenly some order comes in. Inhale, exhale, yin, yang, male, female, active, passive. We're bringing and blending them together. There's a certain power in the breathing that allows us to transcend duality and awaken in us a connection to ultimate reality and an experience of ourselves as unlimited beings. And then it's a game of keeping one foot in each world. I mean, we live in a world that has limits and duality: us, them, right, wrong, good, bad. I like it, I don't like it. It feels good, it feels bad. Duality is everywhere, but and that's a fun place to live. There's a place for a dance. 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, spin yourself around and start over again. But you keep your other foot in that world of stillness and peace and oneness. And that gets to be the game. You always got one foot in each world. And if the world calls upon you to act and make a difference, then you're there and you're ready and you can do it. And when you're done playing, you drop back into that stillness and that silence. And for me, it feels more and more like I am a wave that forms on the surface of the ocean. It does what it does, it says what it says, and then it disappears back into the ocean. I don't try to keep that wave alive. I don't try to keep it in a box. I don't call it me. I just allow it to express. And when it does, I dissolve back into the ocean. And when the ocean is ready, another wave forms. And so now we got one foot in each world. We're in the superficial circumference, surface layer of life, but we're also connected to the depth and to the center. And then once you've got that, one foot in each world, you become a channel for the energy of that other world, and you become the hands and the voice of spirit in the world, because spirit needs us to do practical things in the world. It uses my hands, it uses my mind, it uses me. And so if I got one foot in that world, spirit's going to flow through me, and it's going to show up in my actions, in my decisions, in my work, in my art, in my relationships. And so breathing helps us to maintain that beautiful balance of keeping one foot in the world, in each world. And it's like Jesus said, you're in the world, but not of the world, because you're of that oneness and that silence and that allness. And the world is about individual, differences and variety. And so, it's like a flower garden, 100 different flowers, but it's one garden.
That's so beautiful. Let's tell people, of course, the final goal. The goal is to have this spiritual awakening, this connection with the source of everything, the energy that is keeping us alive, that it's prana chief. That would not exist, we would not be here talking to each other right now. But of course, that is the higher purpose. But this type of breathing, what are the things that they help them in a health issues or situations of life that they notice that can dissolve, so to speak, little by little, using these techniques in your
Yeah,
experience?
well, we teach, and you'll see anyone who comes to seminar, we always start from the beginning, with fundamentals. And that first step forward is always a step inward. So if I'm about to take an action, what I need to do is to go inside, center, and focus myself. When I'm connected to that center, now I can trust my actions. I can start to move forward. And so it's a game of using your breath, developing a relationship to your breath. And intuition and the breath itself will begin to guide us. I mean, if I can connect you to your spirit, what do you need me for? My job is done. Next, on to the
Yes.
next one. So, and we can find that in ourselves. We can find it. How do we teach? Well, we teach by telling stories since ancient times, since we're hardwired to learn through stories and communicate with stories. So we tell stories. The important thing is we give people things to practice. It's in the practice that everything works out. So we start with simple breathing practices and then we build on them. And the third thing is you just leave the rest up to God. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going around the world. I'm telling stories. I'm giving people things to practice, and I leave the rest up to God. And that's the best we can do.
Yes, I
So
noticed
it
then that,
works.
yes, it definitely works. I noticed with myself and with people that are really joining us in many of these events, that after they practice for a while and do their due diligence with the practice, they don't even need to think about it. When they have moments of anxiety, of certain tension, pressure, whatever comes into their day-to-day life, and I notice this myself, it's automatically the breath kicks in, and automatically that state where you depressurize and
Yep.
allows everything to kind of go away. And it becomes a way of living, a way to live your life and to bring a different type of quality to your life. So, why I'm saying this is because for those that are listening, you don't have to, yes, you practice forever. I don't know if every day, every 2 days, whatever they need, but after a while, this practice becomes 100% wired into your day-to-day life, and you start acting and walking and living from this using the breath, which to me
Yeah.
was absolutely amazing.
It's because it's all about training, Michelle. Without realizing it, we are training all the time. Any habits of thinking, any repetitive patterns and behaviors, that's training. And so some people, without realizing it, they're training themselves in getting upset. They get upset because somebody's late. They get upset because something their kid did. They get upset because their car won't start. They get upset because somebody looked at them the wrong way. They get upset because the government is all screwed up. They get upset because and so they've gotten upset so many times that they're really good at it. And almost anything can upset them. Just look at me the wrong way and I get upset. Say one word and I get upset. Don't say one word. We've done so much training without realizing it that we can get upset easily and effortlessly. Well, you need to be training in other ways. You need to be training
Yeah.
in feeling good, in relaxing, in going with the flow, in expressing yourself. And if you do that again and again, it becomes a habit of your system. And it's not a discipline. You're training yourself to relax when it's the last thing you think about doing. It's training yourself to remember who you are when you're buying into a limited idea of yourself. It's remembering to turn to your heart when you're into judging and criticizing and blaming and all that stuff. And the more often you do this, it's training. And pretty soon it happens by itself. And you just become who it is you've been trying to be and practicing at every opportunity to be. It sneaks up on you, it creeps up on you, it becomes second nature. And now you can move to even higher intentions because now you've got the support of your higher yourself. You're connected to source. You're free of guilt and shame and anger and fear. And so you're even more creative and even more alive. And it's a non-ending, unending, upward, beautifully expanding spiral. And
Okay.
getting into circular breathing puts us in the game, puts us on the path. And then you can go as fast or as slow as you like because time isn't really a factor.
That is so beautiful. It's true, Dan. I have to say that I am at this point in my life that I'm not getting upset about things, but I have to admit there are moments when there are certain things that I don't really like or they are become uncomfortable, and but I developed this ability to say, okay, what do I need to observe inside of me that is causing me to have a reaction. So I breathe and I go automatically in the position of the observer to see what is causing this. So it's amazing. To me, it's
Oh,
amazing. It helped me
that's
go through very difficult moments in the
yeah,
past few years.
yeah. And you're echoing, reflecting Tony Robbins, one of his greatest teachings about how do you change your state?
Yes.
Say you're in a state of sadness or anger or pain or frustration or confusion, whatever. You're in a certain state. How do you change your state? You change your focus.
Yeah.
So what you just described is you're in an uncomfortable situation. Instead of focusing on the situation, you just change your focus.
Yeah.
Okay, what did I do to create this? What am I doing in my body right now? What kind of thoughts am I generating? So you've changed your focus.
Yes.
The next thing you need to do is change your internal self-talk. Change the story you're telling yourself. Change the meaning that you're creating. Change the way that you're looking at things, your point of view. Change your perception, right? Change your inner talk. And the third thing is change your physiology. Get up and jump up and down and just shout for a couple of minutes. That will change your physiology. That's what Tony Robbins does at all of
Yes.
his
Yes.
trainings. Right?
I
He
was just
talks, downloads information for 15 to 20 minutes, and then for 2 or 3 minutes, everybody gets up and they change
yeah.
their physiology. Then they sit back down and they download more information. Well, breathing is the quickest and most immediate way to change your physiology. Change your focus, change your self-talk, and use your breath to change your physiology, and you will be in a different state. And it doesn't take very long. In fact, 1 or 2 minutes is maximum. If you get upset, if you get disturbed, and you're still upset and you're still disturbed 2 or 3 minutes later, whatever originally caused that disturbance, that's not the problem anymore. Now it's you.
Mm-hmm.
You are keeping that upset alive by what you're focusing on, by what you're telling yourself, and by how you're breathing.
Yeah.
Change those things, and you change the world
Yes.
inside of you and around you.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I was just going to say, you mentioned Tony Robbins, and I was so happy and impressed and glad that a few years ago you connected to Tony Robbins and you actually did breath work with him. You coached him, and I wanted to say to those that are listening to us or viewing us, it doesn't matter where you are. For those that are listening, if you are how qualified or what practice you do, what other practices you have. Breathing is something that we take with us along constantly. So all of us need to some degree to train the way we breathe, to go to to develop a higher potential, to grow. I mean, if Tony Robbins is realizing that he needs to explore his breath work, I guess, and he is where he is, I guess we all need to work with our breath work, to develop a breath work practice for ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, good. And that's what we do at the seminars. We all have our own speed, we all have our own path, and we each need to find our way to move, finding that path and moving along that path. And so the breathing is something that can be adjusted and customized for each and every individual. And that's one of the beautiful things about breath work, is that there's no one right way to breathe. There's what works for you in this moment. And if you have a toolbox and you've learned a number of skills, then in any moment you can reach into that toolbox and you can apply something and you can make it work for yourself.
I want to, now it just came to my mind a question for you. What would you say to the people? It happened to me to meet people and work with people that they have other practices. They do different practices. And they say, well, I'm not focusing now. I did a few sessions of breath work, but I will focus on something else, whatever their section is, whatever they want to do. And I always told them, I said, no matter what you do, you should continue your breathwork practice, because this is what is going to support you and push you further, allowing you to develop your whatever skills you have to become a better person in what you do. And I feel sad, but then it's not my business. Everybody does whatever they think it's important for themselves. But I still feel kind of sad seeing that they abandon doing this because they focus somewhere else. So what I want, my question to you, what would you say to these people? Is breathing interfering in any way with whatever they do, and taking the focus away from whatever they do? I know it's not true, but I want you to tell them that, because you are the master of breath work here. So what advice would you give them?
No, you can bring breath work into any existing practice, whatever it is. You're a healer, a body worker, a psychotherapist, a counselor. It doesn't matter what you are. There's a way to incorporate breathing into your practice, to enhance your practice, to deepen it, to take it to a higher level, to turbocharge it. Because if we talk about breathing, but we're talking about three principles: the ability to become more conscious. It doesn't matter what you do. If you can become more conscious, you're going to do whatever you do better. You're going to see things other people don't see. You're going to feel things other people don't feel. Breath work is a mindfulness practice. Breath work is a meditation practice, right? So breath work is about becoming more conscious and aware. Name me one thing that doesn't benefit by that. Nothing. It helps everything. The second thing is breathing teaches us to let go. A lot of the problems we think we need to solve and work through, we just need to learn how to let go. You don't have to work through pain, you can let it go. You don't have to work through fear, you can let it go. But you have to learn the energetic skill of letting go, and that's what we learn and practice in breathwork. You can't move forward unless you let go of where you're at. And surrender has an ancient path to liberation. Let go and let God. Surrender and trust. That's a legitimate spiritual path.
Yeah.
So breathing is about becoming more conscious. Of course, that's going to help you in anything you do. Breathing is about learning to let go of blockages, limiting beliefs, old opinions, and so on. And the third is learning to breathe to give you energy to do what you do, and accessing genuine energy, not Red Bull or adrenaline, but genuine life force energy that can sustain you and give you the fuel you need to do what you're meant to do. So when we say breathing, we're talking about a collection of abilities and skills, becoming more conscious, becoming more relaxed and able to flow and let go, and learning to tap genuine energy with your breath. How can not help anything? So don't let your mind, screw with you. Don't let your heads go, oh, I don't know if it'll help me. I don't know if I have time. Oh, bullshit. That's your mind resisting your own power and your own potential. It's comfortable where you're at, and it's trying to keep you in your little box.
Yeah.
Don't buy into it. That's just a thought. It's impossible not to benefit any area of your life with the breath. It's impossible not to find a way to bring breathing into whatever you do and do better. There's just no,
Yeah.
don't believe the opposite. It just isn't really true.
Yeah, it's true, Dan. I realize that, and I notice myself with people that some they don't realize, but now working for so long with the breath myself, it's people are, you can see their fear to live life from the way they breathe. It's like they're afraid to breathe, to expand and relax, as you say, and you observe them, and they are afraid to live the life that they have, and that is constricting on them, and is making them stay in that, like, oh, what's going to happen to me? And it's absolutely amazing what this is doing to some of us. I mean, either we expand our horizons and learn and experience and have our full potential. And yes, I really realize now more than ever that we all need to take charge of our own body, mind, spirit, energy, emotional body, everything all together. And it's the time for all of us to do this more than ever, especially because of the times that we live. And there are so many transformations, and we need to come to the point where we look for our own transformation. If we want to have a better life, a better connection with God, a better connection with the Spirit, with our angels, with whoever we try to have a better connection, we need to allow ourselves to experience this through our own practice. Then this is amazing. As last words, because just, we're gonna see each other in April, so in a few months I want to give opportunity to people that are watching us to prepare and to think, what do they want to bring new into their life, what is the goal for this work for them to participate, but what would you like to give them, to share with them, or to say as the last few words to those people that are watching us?
Yeah, well, you really summed it up really well. I mean, if you want to live fully and freely, you need to breathe fully and freely. And the more fully and freely you breathe, automatically, the more fully and freely you live. The more fully your experiences are, the more freely you express yourself. It goes together. Breathe fully and freely if you want to live fully and freely. And if you want to feel something you've never felt before, you need to breathe in a way that you've never breathed before. And that's what we'll be doing at the seminars. So everybody has hidden potential, everybody has unlocked abilities, and the whole goal and the whole focus is to access those abilities and unlock those potentials. And the breath was made for that. And so we just got to play with the breath, and that's what we're going to do. Come, be willing to take a leap.
Yeah.
Be willing to really go for it. I don't like lukewarm people. I would rather have somebody hate me or love me, but don't be wishy-washy.
Yeah.
And same thing with life. You're either all in or go home, right? Go big or go home.
Yeah. I have to say that, Dan, I'm so thankful to you for. There are a few people in my life that I learned great things from, and you are one of them. And this is something that I brought into my life for myself. And because I'm also a spiritual worker, and I feel that I have to, it's like Spirit told me, you have to talk to the people about this. You have to talk to everybody about breathwork. You cannot keep it for yourself. You cannot be selfish and keep it for yourself. You have to share with the world. So that's why we are here now doing this together. And I am looking forward to welcome you in April in Bucharest, and to share this beautiful time together, and have a great group of people that are willing to transform their life.